I have a phrase called collateral opportunities. And what that is that, if a person doesn't know what they want to be in the future, they are going to lose out on collateral opportunities that may, come to them along their journey. And these are potentially people that they should have met, workshops or courses they should have taken, opportunities to present at conferences that may interact with people in their future. Those kinds of things are collateral opportunities.
Hello, Wolfpack fans. This is Marcy Bullock. Welcome to Engineering Pack Pod. I'm excited to introduce our guest today, Dr. Joel Ducoste. Welcome, Dr. Ducoste.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm well. I'm delighted to have this conversation today. So a little bit about you is that you have your PhD in environmental engineering from the University of Illinois, and currently you work as the Associate Dean for Faculty Development and Success. I like that title.
Yep, it encompasses what we're trying to achieve with our faculty.
I think that's wonderful. And our listeners can be faculty or current grad students. And today I thought we would focus our conversation towards the individual development plans that graduate students begin with when they are on their journey to get their PhD. And before we dive into that, give us your elevator pitch. What are some interesting things about you that you like to share when you are mingling at a party?
Sure. Well, so I'm originally from New York, and I am a diehard Mets and Jets fan, so have pity on me. But I enjoy those two teams. I enjoy doing some outdoor activities, going to the gym. I've started trying to do some activities that are hopefully my future hobbies. I like creating Legos, structures, 3D puzzles types of things. And who else knows what other things I'm looking to do, but I'm trying to find some more hobbies that I will do a lot in my future. So
That's wonderful. Well, I'll still be your friend, but I am a San Diego Padres fan, and I will tell you, I know we have started the season off pretty well. We'll see when this airs if we have the same thing to say. It's 162 games, I think.
yes, right.
I'm really delighted that we had a chance to dive into what is called an IDP. Will you define that a little bit for our listeners and for a student who's beginning graduate school? Why is it important?
Yeah. So IDP stands for the Individual Development Plan. I believe it was initially created as a process for postdoc mentoring through NIH because at the time they felt that a more structured environment between mentor and mentee should be done to make sure that the postdocs were achieving professional growth and development. Since then, it has, morphed into being used by a whole host of faculty and their interactions with graduate students to try to, again, foster a more holistic plan for their success, both academically as well as to achieve their professional goals after they finish graduating. So it's what I like about it is it gives a roadmap for faculty to, if they're very interested, and they should all be interested in making sure that they're doing strong mentoring of their graduate students and postdocs. It's an opportunity to discuss a number of different topics that relates to the individual's career aspirations as well as academic plan.
That is a tool that sounds very important. And even going back to when someone's applying to graduate school, let's imagine that this is a candidate and they're trying to decide what place they want to go for, what university, what advisor, what mentors they want on their team. When is it appropriate to bring this kind of roadmap that you just mentioned into the conversation? Is that too early?
No, actually, I mean that if a graduate student is trying to learn more about the future faculty member that may guide them on their thesis, one of the questions they could ask is, oh, do you do an IDP with your graduate students and your postdocs? You'll get a lot from that because, first of all, if they don't know what IDP stands for, that tells you something, one. Two, and if they do it, that's good news because that means that person's very interested in wanting to mentor their team holistically to make sure that they're all successful in everything that they're doing, as well as future success when they leave the program and the group. So, no, I think it's a valid question to ask potential candidates for faculty you're thinking about working with them and say, oh, do you do an IDP with your group? Or don't even say what IDP stands for. Now, if they ask the question, what is that? Oh, you can answer. You want to be cordial and all of that, but that immediately tells you is like, oh, maybe they don't know and maybe I should question. Doesn't mean that they're not good mentors because maybe they don't use that format. But then, if you know the IDP, you can ask them questions about some of the things that you have in the IDP and then see how they respond and answer. But it's a way to really navigate whether this person is going to support you the way you need to be supported.
And it could be a red flag if they don't know what it is or say, no, I don't want to be a mentor. I'm just here to publish papers. That's not
I hope faculty never gives that response because
right.
that's pretty sad. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that this is an important part of your academic training is whoever's going to be guiding you that, obviously you want to work with those people who are super experts, well known in the field. They will be able to champion your professional growth. But, and in the meantime, you want to know you're being supported during your academic training.
Being supported is very important because this is a challenging road that the student is embarking on, and you need to have people in your court that will lift you up, that will guide you. Let's assume that it goes well. You get in, your advisor says, yes, we're going to do this. What kind of questions would a student expect to see on an IDP? Or is there any kind of guideline that they use? Or does it kind of depend on the faculty how they design this particular document?
This way, I would say that the faculty member who are using these guides, initially the kinds of things that are going to be asked, they're really designed depending on what year you are in your program. So initially, some of the questions are just about, well, okay, what courses are you going to take to start things off? Okay. The other things that, as part of the discussion, well, what are your career aspirations? I mean, obviously, if you're a strong mentor, you want to know what this person's goalposts are for their future so that you can structure their year 1 through year 5 in a way that will build in not only their academic training, but also their professional aspirational training. So things to look out for, things, I have a phrase called collateral opportunities. And what that is that, if a person doesn't know what they want to be in the future, they are going to lose out on collateral opportunities that may, come to them along their journey. And these are potentially people that they should have met, workshops or courses they should have taken, opportunities to present at conferences that may interact with people in their future. Those kinds of things are collateral opportunities. I don't call them collateral damage. That's usually what collateral is usually used with. These are opportunities because if a mentor knows that this is what you want to do in your future, they are there to say, hey, I think this workshop is going to be good for you because I know this is what you want to do. Oh, and let me introduce you to this person at this conference because I know you want to do this as well, or work at a national lab, and this person works at a national lab. So again, these are opportunities that come along that are very important for career aspirations, but you wouldn't have known that unless you've shared that with your advisor, who now can help navigate with you these opportunities.
Yeah, it's a two-way process where this advisor, like you said, is doing the introductions and thinking about ways to champion you. And I was having a conversation just last week with some graduate students about why they came to grad school, and several people didn't know the answer, to be honest with you. Well, I was smart and people told me to keep going, and they never outlined their goals. So I'm glad we're having this conversation because writing your goals out, they're important because that helps you to realize where you're heading. You don't know how to get there if you don't have a specific milestone that you're trying to achieve. But what if things take a turn and you've put your plan together, but things aren't going as planned?
Yeah. And that's the reason why this is a guide, but not a contract. That's a
Mm.
difference. So, in other words, you tell your advisor, these are my planned activities academically, these courses I'm going to take this semester. I plan to get this kind of research done during this semester or this academic year. I'm hoping to write a draft to a paper, whatever that is. And these are goals. Sometimes things or opportunities come up that may, delay some of those goals because something came up or something just didn't go right in the experiments or the things that you had planned. The idea is that you need to be having meetings with your advisor to update which a good advisor would have regular meetings. As a advisor myself, I would have regular meetings on a weekly basis, maybe every other week, and depending on the nature of the interaction with that particular student. But the point is, you should be updating what's happening and then revisiting your IDP. This is not you write it at the very beginning, everybody agrees with it, and you never look at it again. That would be a poor usage of something that you took time to create and write out. What you should be doing is at least looking at those goals, objectives, plans. And I would say at least quarterly, if not monthly, just to say, okay, how are things going? Are you meeting the timeline? Should we modify anything? What's going to be delayed? Those kinds of things. Because it is, again, a plan, not a contract.
Right, right. And these conversations that you are alluding to that happen quarterly, even more frequently on meetings, but the revisiting of it quarterly, if the student is concerned about their progress and they feel like they're not moving at the pace that they had originally hoped, and they're nervous about having that conversation because they maybe think they're going to let their supervisor, it's almost like their boss, down in a performance review. What do you think they should do?
Well, first of all, hopefully you had vetted your advisor because somebody should be trying to say, listen, I understand. I've been in your shoes. I know that sometimes things don't go according to plan. Let's see how we can help you achieve some alternative pathway to still end up at a goal that is, achievable, but maybe it's a different goal, right? Because maybe the original plan was either too aggressive. When you do research, so this is a problem often found for undergraduates transitioning to graduate school. Their whole identity is based on success through grades. So when they get great grades, it's immediate feedback. They are superstars, they're doing well, whatever they want to see it, they're getting that kind of feedback. Now you're doing research in graduate school, and frankly, you're navigating an unknown territory. That's why it's called research. We make hypotheses, we make guessworks, informed guesswork based on either literature or past experiments, but future experiments, you don't know how they're going to go, and they could be very challenging. And so when they see these things not working, they internalize it and feel like, am I really cut out for graduate school? I feel like I'm failing, when in fact there is no such thing as a failure. There's only lessons learned. What have you learned from that experience? What did that experiment tell you about it that you need to now discuss with your advisor to see maybe there are some things we need to change. Now, your advisor is looking for leadership, right? So the point is you're going to say, I tried this and this. These things that I tried were based on what I read in the literature. And the literature may be incorrect under the conditions that you're trying to do. But what you're trying to educate your advisor in is that you understand that you're trying to navigate a road, and then you're offering advice. And then and hopefully your advisor is going to say, yeah, that sounds good. I think I agree with you. Or no, I've been down this road before and I've seen some challenge with that. Let's try doing something like it. But it at least informs the advisor that you are taking ownership and leadership to try to do it. But recognize that these things and challenges do happen. Your advisor should know that and should be trying to be a partner in trying to come up with the solution. But again, it's a partnership, right? So you're going to contribute some things to that, and a strong advisor or mentor will also contribute so that both of you end up with a successful navigation of this research.
I appreciate you normalizing that, Dr. Ducoste, about how sometimes things in life are not expected and we have to be flexible and adapt to that. And I guess as we're thinking about this plan and keeping communication lines open, and I'm hearing you say that picking that advisor is so important. It's a two-way process. It's not just, am I worthy, but is this the kind of person I want to spend the next 4+ years with? And are we clicking? What would you say would be 3 of the top skills or competencies that a PhD engineer might be evaluated on in this IDP?
You're going to be evaluated academically, making sure you're doing well in your courses. You're going to be evaluated on research productivity, and the plans that you're, moving forward, and as well as some of these some people like to call them soft skills. I detest that. And all of those things are in the mix in the first 2 years of your academic training.
So, academic research professional, and I like the definition of power skills. I couldn't agree more. Soft minimizes them. And when we interact with hiring managers, those are some of the top skills they want are the interpersonal skills and be able to collaborate and work on a team. And sometimes grad students don't realize that they have those and they are their worst critics. Our final question is time machine. We're going to the year 2035. Imagine yourself 10 years older, giving you advice to yourself in 2025.
I think the biggest thing for me is to continue to meet more people. I'm at a point in my life that, we're very busy. And I get to meet people, but I mean meet people that gets me to explore new areas more. And I need that for my personal self. Need more hobbies. I'm getting a little bit settled in my ways and certain things, and I think through just doing hobbies I would never have thought of doing is going to help my brain get rewired again. And it's important for us who are aging to make sure that our brains are very active and not settled. The other thing I would also tell my future self is try to figure out a way to maybe do yoga. I'm going to hurt myself here, but I feel like I'm a board. When I say board, I mean like a plank, stiff as a board, and I need to be a lot more flexible. So I would tell my younger self, start trying to stretch and be more flexible because you will need it when you're older.
Wise, wise thoughts. Yes, mobility. Thank you, Dr. Ducoste.
Yeah, quite welcome. I enjoyed this very much.